Google gets the Twitter files treatment. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is another declaration of truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. 2 nights ago, yet another journalist who once lost his Twitter account and got it back with Elon's purchase of the platform dropped a thread that does for or to Google what the Twitter files have done for Twitter. These Google leaks tell a tale of Google also being a censor and possibly a state actor as well. But these leaks go further than the Machiavellian machinations of Google's human staff. They also describe the making of the Google algorithm and its training to make the first ever popular search engine thoroughly unreliable and an instrument of the political left and the deep state. But worst of all, Google directly employed many of Hillary Clinton's key staff, and no one knew anything about that until now. Why am I talking about this today and not yesterday? Because I did not see it until last night. Separately, 2 users have tested the Twitter algorithm and have turned up some interesting findings. They have apprised Elon of their findings, and Elon has taken note of them and pledged to investigate them. That's the developing story, so watch closely. But I'm here today to talk about Google. Before I start, I do want to shout out to the prime sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views. Link in the description. And be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down near the bottom for that link. Lots of great merchandise there, especially this t-shirt that I've chosen for today, which reads, "Do not bear false witness." One more thing. If you like what you're about to hear, you can like this video. You can also click the bell icon to get a notice every time I come out with a new one. In fact, do you see the new icon, the heart shape with the US dollar sign on it? That's the super thanks icon. If you really want to keep these videos coming, click that and leave me a tip. Any currency will do, so long as it's legal tender. First, let me tell you people something. I have long suspected that Google sides with the left. Other contributors to CNAV have noticed it too. More recently, in 2016, a Google executive told a Friday afternoon meeting of staff after the election that she sympathized with staff who were unhappy with the election of Donald Trump as President of the United States. A kick in the head, this executive said. Google removed the original Gab social app, as did Apple, forcing Gab to develop browser shortcuts for signing on a smartphone. Nor has Google made any real secret of the bias in its search engine. But the most striking feature or bug of Google is that it tracks users and aggregates data about user searches. "You're not the customer, you're their product," goes a common refrain. In fact, the Attorney General of Texas sued Google over such data mining. This has caused many to abandon Google for other search engines and refrain from using Google as a verb. I'll return to that later. Of course, Google is not the only nefarious big tech company. The Twitter files now have seen more than 15 installments. Facebook files also exist. Such is the background behind the Google leaks. I've left links in the description to every other tweet, the odd numbers, because this thread has an odd number of tweets. When you follow the links, don't worry about a couple of the numbers being missing. They were missing in the original thread. So these links will give you everything you need. Do follow those links. They have embedded images and video. And now, the text. Thread, the Google leaks. In 2019, 950 pages of Google's internal documents leaked, providing evidence of Google's use of blacklists and machine learning algorithms to censor conservatives and populists. These are the type of source documents Elon Musk should release. Google receives $5.6 billion billion daily searches, controlling 90% of the global search traffic. YouTube has 2.3 billion users. Our beliefs are inseparably linked to search results, but Google is a biased source of information, and the tech platform actively manipulates what we see. In 2021, former Google software engineer Zachary Voorhees, who goes by the account name Perpetual Maniac, published a book where he explained that the turning point was the election of Donald J. Trump. The morning after the election, employees cried, lost their minds, and planned their resistance. Google co-founder Sergey Brin said in an all-hands company meeting, quote, "I certainly find this election deeply offensive, and I know that many of you do too. Many people apparently don't share the values that we have," unquote, Sergey Brin. Kent Walker, Google's chief legal officer, suggested Trump voters were motivated by fear, xenophobia, and hatred. He described how the company would take on the rise of populism and nationalism. In many ways, Google did lose the 2016 election to Donald Trump. Alphabet chairman Eric Schmidt gave Hillary Clinton's team a campaign plan a full year before she announced her run for president. Schmidt was the head outside advisor to the campaign. The Clinton campaign's chief technology officer, Stephanie Hannon, and chief product officer, Osi Yomakparia, came from Google. Two other key Clinton campaign staffers, Derek Parham and Jason Rosenbaum, also previously worked at Google. Google paid for free rides for a Get Out the Vote for the Hispanic voters operation, and employees called it a silent donation to Hillary Clinton's campaign in internal emails because they thought it would help her win. Tech employees are notoriously aligned with the political left, with 96% of Google's employees donating to Democrats during the 2018 U.S. midterm election. From Voorhees' perspective, when Google launched a crusade against so-called fake news, what it meant in actuality was censoring the ideas and arguments of Donald J. Trump and his populist supporters. Anything pro-Trump or anti-Hillary was labeled fake news. Let's take a look. Let's take a break here, because I want to shout out to a sponsor who can really help you through the economic storms to come. That sponsor is OurSilverLines.com. You feel like you're working harder for your money just to get by? You're not alone. The fluctuating economy, employment issues, and unexpected changes in life have left many families struggling over the past few years. Collecting gold and silver can help shield you against many of these challenges. But if you're like me many years ago, you don't know where or how to start. Our Silver Lines helps by connecting you with thousands of members who are learning the secrets to creating and protecting true wealth by collecting precious metals. Whether you just want to collect rare and unique coins or take advantage of the business opportunities this company provides, either way, they can help you learn to live an exceptional life. Visit OurSilverLines.com to learn how you can build a legacy for your future. Now, in 2019, Project Veritas released footage of Google executive Jen Janai discussing preventing the next Donald Trump situation. She remarked, quote, "We're also training our algorithms, like if 2016 happened again, would the outcome be different?" Unquote, Jen Janai. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki described how Google uses machine learning and classifiers to bury trashy news and promote authoritative news. Machine learning is when algorithms are fed real-world information and learn to make distinctions based on the patterns they find. Now, what were these classifiers? Well, There's a leaked document, there's a link in the tweet, fringe ranking and classifier. Google ranked ABC, CBS, and CNN as more authoritative than the trashy Fox News and Breitbart. This is how big tech manually interjects political bias into search results and algorithms. They define a few fringe searches and mention humans training their censorship AI, followed by a flowchart that says people are programmed. These are the type of source documents Elon Musk should release to show how Twitter promoted specific ideas and suppressed others. Voorhees released one Google blacklist that flagged hundreds of conservative websites to be censored or pushed down in search rankings. For example, Daily Caller, Western Journal, Red State, Gateway Pundit, Steven Crowder, Michelle Malkin, and Glenn Beck were censored. Voorhees released a YouTube blacklist that showed hundreds of topics censored from search results. Las Vegas shooter, Sandy Hook, GOP train crash, Heritage Foundation, Anthony Bourdain murder, Kate Spade suicide, pro-life, late-term abortions, and crisis actors. Google CEO Sundar Pichai and Vice President Karen Bhatia had previously testified to Congress that the company weren't manually innovating or utilizing blacklists in search results. Based on Google's own internal documents, Sundar Pichai and Karen Bhatia lied to Congress. A study found that Google cost Republican candidates over $2 billion in donations since 2019 by flagging 77% of their fundraising emails as spam. During the same time, Gmail marked fewer than 11% of Democratic fundraising emails as spam. Elon Musk should consider allowing Dr. Robert Epstein, no relation to Jeffrey, to examine the Twitter files. He's a Harvard-educated researcher, the former editor-in-chief of Psychology Today, and the premier academic studying how tech giants use algorithms to manipulate behavior. Dr. Robert Epstein's research over the last decade has documented how Google, Facebook, and Twitter shift millions of votes without anyone noticing. Many of the concepts that his research pioneered are used by Twitter to subconsciously swing election results. In summary, Elon Musk should release source documents on blacklists and machine learning algorithms used to stifle free speech. Giving access to an expert like Dr. Robert Epstein would help show the world how a handful of Silicon Valley executives manipulate the minds of billions. End of thread. As ever, reaction varies from there you see to ho-hum. I have links in the description to 5 tweets that I have selected from that reaction. One reply is most likely a parody of the ho-hum reaction. It repeats the private company does what it wants, don't interfere with the market meme, and includes an animated picture of, well, actually, it looks like a baby with 5 o'clock shadow and mustache and beard added, crying petulantly. Speaking of parody, an obvious parody account suggested that Hillary Clinton would be out for revenge against Elon Musk. It shows Hillary knitting a noose and has this caption, Hillary knitting a Christmas scarf for Elon. Now, come on, you know who was the most famous political knitter of them all? Madame Defarge. And I have always considered Hillary Clinton to be playing Madame Defarge to my Charles Darnay d'Evremond. Look those two up. A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. One other user reminded people that Elon Musk is the only CEO of a major tech company who has not been manipulating voters. Actually, Andrew Torba is another, but perhaps too few people consider Gab Social major. Still another user said the problem is larger than most people realize, and it wasn't just Twitter. Of course, we've all known it was more than just Twitter, since The Intercept published their Thought Cops piece. One user suggested an easy test of Google's bias. Search on Google for any topic where the left and right disagree, she said. As an example, she offered criticism of the Advanced Placement African American Studies course, the one Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida recently vetoed. She then suggested searching on the Bing search engine. Actually, I would remind everyone that Bing is Microsoft. I prefer the Brave search engine myself. But on this, I can agree with that user. Google is not a verb. Repeat, Google is not a verb. With apologies to Lawrence Harvey as Staff Sergeant Raymond Shaw in the Manchurian Candidate. Therefore, I do not use Google as a verb. In fact, this story is personal to me. When I started Conservative News and Views, I hired a search engine optimization consultant. I won't tell you his name, but I hope he's listening to me now and listening well. He suggested that conservatives could optimize for engine search and that one search engine was no different from any other. I suspected that Google's human staff was suppressing our articles. The consultant denied that flatly, which is part of the reason I have since hired another. These Google leaks prove me right and that first consultant wrong. I urge all search engine optimization consultants to disabuse themselves of that kind of naivete. Conservatives must clearly optimize for a different set of search engines. In fact, let this be another example of the parallel economy that Dr. Steve Turley and especially Andrew Torba recommend. Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida seems ready, from his championship of a House Government Weaponization Subcommittee, to investigate Google. No doubt the Supreme Court of the United States will have to tell us whether such an investigation is constitutional. Or perhaps the Attorneys General of Missouri and Louisiana might consider issuing a third amendment complaint listing Google as yet another co-defendant. Or else conservatives should employ Andrew Torba's solution. Relegate Google to the conventional economy and decamp from it. Totally. The private economy defense won't hold. Justice Clarence Thomas already has said that private companies who do the government's bidding become its agents. When the doing would be unconstitutional for government, the doing by the private agents becomes unlawful for them. The evidence clearly shows that Google is just as guilty as are Facebook and Twitter. Links in the description of the article, to the thread, to the reactions, to my Declarations of Truth Twitter account, and to Conservative News and Views. I've also left links to the awesome CNAV Store and to oursilverlines.com, as I also mentioned. You know already about how to like a video, turn on notifications, and leave a tip. On the end screen, I'm going to leave a subscribe link to my channel and links to the Twitter Files playlist, the Facebook Files article, video, and my State Actors video. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free.